Hey, Facebook. How are you? And look at my hair. It's a mess. I just took my hat off. So, anyway. Hi, how are you? So, I'm here. And so I had this whole plan this week, this Friday, that I was going to fuck some shit up by talking about the amazing things that are happening in Florida as far as activism goes. And I just want to give a shout out to all those young people who are just really doing a really killer job bringing it home for the entire country. Honestly, I really think that they exemplify. I actually said to I posted on here that I could not teach this advocacy better if I tried. The way that, hey Jim, what's up? The way that these young people are engaging in advocacy with their passion, and they're just not giving up, and it's just really cool to watch, and I'm really impressed with all their videos and all of the things that they're doing. It's really awesome. So I wanted to give them a shout out because they've been really inspiring me this last little bit. So I wrote this in my journal yesterday. Was it yesterday, the day before? Something like that. It is a compulsion, a calling, a drive, the need to change the world for the better, the impulse to improve the community for everyone. It thrums through the blood in my veins and resonates deep into the tenor of my soul. I have never not heard the siren song of the call for justice when it comes to everybody else but me. I decided today to get really vulnerable on my Facebook Live for a couple of reasons. One is that I have been working on building this community where I teach women how to engage. Hi, Janessa, how are you? Where I teach women how to engage in advocacy on their own levels for their own lives, to improve their own lives. And I have been focusing all of this really beautiful energy on helping women figure out how to engage in lifting themselves up and empowering themselves. And so I can advocate for others, and I can even teach other women how to advocate for themselves. But advocating for myself is an entirely different story, especially in my capacity as a parent. And I'm really having a hard time with that today in particular. I have been raising 3 beautiful children since 2012 with the help of my partner, Jim. They are his children. They are not my children by blood. And this is the one place in my life where I actually intentionally other myself by being a stepmother. And sometimes that becomes really complicated and difficult and hard, and I have to figure out how to advocate for myself every once in a while, and especially advocate for myself as a parent. And like most people in America, my instinct is to be angry, violently angry towards my body, my physical body and my emotional body. My instinct is to tear myself down and engage in acts of self-sabotage that are very destructive to myself and to the people around me. And it's only in the capacity as a stepmother that becomes very apparent to me. The hardest part of being a stepmother is that I get blamed for everything. I get blamed for raising independent children that speak their truth. I get blamed for alienating the children from their mother, even when I encourage them to have a relationship with her and communicate with her and tell her exactly how they feel when they feel it, whether they're feeling love or sadness or happiness. I get the blame for all of the things. And here I am in this space where I'm trying to raise these 3 children as the person that cooks and cleans and clothes them with my partner, but I am still the mom. I'm the woman, so I'm still the mom. And sometimes in that capacity, and I've talked to other stepmothers, I don't feel like I'm allowed to own my experience. And I realized as I was starting to talk about this that I was writing about this in the second person instead of talking about this as the hardest part of being a stepmother is I get blamed for everything. I started to write it as you get blamed for everything. And I literally started to take my own power of my own voice away. And so all of a sudden the like activist kicks in and goes, wait a minute, why are you putting yourself not talking about this from your space and your intention? And so I rewrote it, and you'll see it on the blog. I feel like I'm supposed to raise these children while at the same time I'm supposed to step aside once a month for a 4-minute phone call. Sometimes twice a month if they happen twice a month. What am I, the step aside mother? That's sort of impossible. I am not always strength incarnate. I am not always grace. I'm not always this magical, mystical being. People call me a unicorn. I'm not a unicorn. My needs are equal to the needs of other people. And then I had this thought. What if the supposedly evil stepmother is actually Cinderella sometimes? She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of all the things while everybody else goes to the ball. And so I call on my courage, and I call on my compassion, and I call on all the things I read about intersectional activism and being in this deep space of fighting oppression and looking at my own ways that I oppress myself, and how do I teach other people to stop oppressing themselves. And I think I'm going to be really vulnerable and raw about this, because I know there must be some other stepmothers out there that have this experience where we are constantly caring for these children and giving it everything that we have in the deepest parts of our soul. But there is always a moment where we are not their parent. And there is always a moment where we are the other. And just when you think it's not going to happen, it happens again. So my commitment to myself, so that I can advocate for myself and have compassion for myself as a step parent, is that I'm going to continue to cook and clean and care for and advocate for these kids the best way I know how. But more importantly, I am going to be tender with myself. I'm going to stick up for myself. I'm going to give myself strength and love and peace and compassion for myself. Because I can't help raise these beautiful human beings with integrity and grace, and be all of the things that they tell me that I am. Gwenny told me like 3 times this week I was her hero. She asked me about who her heroes were, who my heroes were. And she told me that I am her hero. And so I'm just going to keep holding on to those moments when all of the messages that I am getting are that I am not their mom. And I am going to look to the strength of those kids in Florida who are not backing down for anything. And I'm going to think about how they are engaging in activism for themselves and for their peers and for the people around them. And there is a lesson for us to learn as adults in that. And I am going to really call deep on my grace, which anybody who knows me, Grace is not my middle name. Grace is not one of my strong suits. But I'm going to try and figure out how to be graceful with myself so that I can have grace for this process. And I'm really going to fuck some shit up this Friday by being kind and tender and loving to me, and hope that in this vulnerability and in my willingness to bawl my eyes out in public on Facebook, that maybe it will help other women at least gather the strength to recognize that sometimes we just have really rough days. And sometimes it's not easy to move through our worlds. But if we don't make the choice to move through our worlds with love and compassion for ourselves and for the people around us, then I fear that the anger will take over, because that is what has happened to me in my own life. And I don't want to feel that anger towards my body and towards myself. And I truly believe that if I hold on to that light and that hope and hold on to that is how this story and my story can help other women in the world engage in activism towards themselves. So I realize that I have come on here and not been the perfect activist, but that's because I truly believe that in these imperfect moments is when we can learn the most about how we can engage in action in not just with ourselves, but also with our communities. And so I'm really happy that y'all are here. And I really am happy that I have this space where I can be vulnerable and cry and say that I am a real human being with real thoughts and real stuff happening. And it is my hope that in this moment, there are some stepmoms out there who know that you're mom and that you're awesome. And for all those stepmoms out there who might be struggling or might be having a good week about it this week, just know that you're awesome and we are doing really cool stuff and we're amazing. And I swear to you, there's a special place wherever we go after we die for us, and we're all going to have a big ass party. Have a super awesome day. Be tender with your hearts. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe I just said tender. Be kind to your souls. If there's one thing you can fuck shit up this Friday, it's to hold on to your heart and to remember that you are awesome. And maybe that in itself is part of the graceful revolution. So I hope you read the blog. I hope you have a super great weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday.